Welcome back to Your Legacy Radio. Happy Sunday to you all. As I said in the last segment, I'm really excited to be back on the airwaves of News Talk 1110 WBT and on WBT.com. I had some individuals text me and say, hey, where else can we get more information about these living resource benefits? And you can go to livingresourcebenefit.com and find all the information you want to find, because it's not just, we're going to talk a lot about the life insurance benefit that can be created within a living resource benefit thought process throughout this show. But there's a lot of living resource benefit. You can create one with your real estate. There's some living resource benefits that can create it in taking assets that you currently have and putting that into what's called a guaranteed indexed fund, to where you can actually have that managed over time. And it has upside potential, but then also downside protection, which is extremely important within this thought process of where we are within the financial markets, because the markets are highly inflated by a lot of capital that's been pushed out from Washington and all these different variables that have pushed the market up. Well, if you're reaching that retirement age and you want your capital protected, or heaven forbid you're affected by a terminal illness and you want that capital protected, it's a great way to put it into and it says exactly what it is, a guaranteed index fund. So it's guaranteed not to go down, but it also has upside potential tied to the financial market. So you can find that information on livingresourcebenefit.com. You can also call in and we'll send you the information. You can also speak to a living resource specialist with River Wealth Solutions if you call 866-500-2922. So there's a lot of information that we can kind of provide for you. We have a trained team that is able to help you identify the assets you currently have, help you also understand how to take those assets and quickly, within 15 to 30 days, turn those assets into capital that you need. So it's not for everybody. If you say, Scott, I got a ton of money in a bank account, I'm good, I need to protect my capital, so maybe it's a guaranteed index fund that I might be interested in. That's something we can help you with as well. But, there's always a living resource benefit in either protecting the capital you currently have, or there's a lot of individuals that need capital now, but they don't even realize they have the assets to create that capital. So we can help you with that. Call us 866-500-2922. And as I said, I've got Katie Bowling on the show with me this week. Very, very excited to have Katie on the airwaves of Your Legacy Radio. The first show, Miss Bowling. You're on the first show. And I said to Katie, I said, if this goes really well, you're going to be a co-host. So just understand that and know that. And I'm serious about that. But what I want to do is to kind of jump into a thought process with Katie, just to understand. I understand the path that has brought you to River Wealth Solutions as a living resource specialist. But I want the listeners to understand kind of your path that has led up to being a part of River Wealth Solutions. So talk about your path to become a living resource specialist, and then I want to understand some other things as far as what the company does. But go ahead.
Sure, Scott. I was a self-employed business owner for about 12 years, and then moved into adult education, helping individuals, learn how to manage their assets, learning how to trade and invest and leave a legacy for the people that they cared for, their families and their, children and their children's children. And by doing that, wanted to make sure that, continuing on, as they got older, to be able to turn, their assets into capital for them to use now. Right.
And would you find within that path, because you and I worked together in the education field, right? I mean,
we did.
We worked together for a couple of years. And I know the answer to my thought process, but I want to understand yours. Most individuals don't understand finances as a whole. I mean, they have a lack of knowledge and thought process with finances. Is that something that you kind of saw as well?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people put it in the hands of money managers and people who really don't understand how to manage their own finances, let alone manage other people's finances. And then once they realize that, they try to take it on themselves and want to get educated in that field. So we help them do that. And then now at this point, we want to help them at the next stage in life and help them with resources to make sure that they're cared for, at the next stage when they're affected by a terminal illness or, want to make sure that that legacy is protected.
Right. And you were so good, and this is why I had asked you to come and work with River Wealth Solutions. You were so good at helping individuals to create a legacy be it to manage their own capital or just to get the capital protected, understand what it is they had, understand what it is they could do with what they had. I mean, there's we would have individuals come into a session looking for education, and they wouldn't even realize that they were involved in the financial markets. And this is where I saw a huge area of need as far as help with River Wealth Solutions, because if someone has a 401k and they come into a class that teaches them how to understand how to manage that 401k, but they say, I'm not involved in the financial markets, and we say, well, you have a 401k, where's the money within that 401k? Well, it's in mutual funds, but I'm not involved in the financial markets. Then that means that something more detailed as far as when they need access to funds and they have assets that they could utilize for that act, like insurance, like life insurance, they have no idea. If they don't know what a mutual fund is, most individuals have no idea that you can take your life insurance policy and utilize it to create funds that you currently need for whatever season you're in, be it retirement, be it just to live life, be it because you're affected by a terminal illness. And it creates the funds that they could utilize now. The insurance companies hate it, right? I mean, the insurance companies despise the thought process that we're even talking about this, because what over 90% of individuals do is they take that capital, or they take the policy, they stop paying for it because they get to a point where they can't afford it, or they're affected by terminal illness. They want to point that capital towards something else like medical care, which is great, but they just let the policy lapse. And that's a great thing for the insurance company, but it's horrible for the individual who had that asset that could have used it to create whatever it is that they wanted to create with it. They have the money, it's their money, right? And they could utilize it for whatever they wanted to utilize it for. I'm talking right through your interview, and I apologize for that, but tell me why. I asked you to come on with River Wealth Solutions. I knew you would be a great living resource specialist, but what is it that drew you to River Wealth Solutions?
Well, 90% of all people look at life insurance as a liability. We're taught, that it's a liability, and few people look at it as an asset, but in fact, it is an asset, and we can utilize it when we need it, and you pay for it for years and years and years, and then when you need it, very few people realize that it's there. And I really want to make sure that people can leave their mark. They can pay for necessary medical expenses. They can take trips with their families. They can, pay for long-term care and not have to put a burden on their families. Yeah. So it's very important to know what assets you have when you have them and how to utilize them. Yeah. And so River Wealth Solutions is a great place to come to be able to identify those resources, and we can help you do that.
Right. And as I said before, there's a host of resources that you can identify that all of you listening to my voice right now, you have at least one of them, and most of you have no idea that you have one of them. If you go to livingresourcebenefit.com, that's livingresourcebenefit.com, there's a lot of information about all the different living resource benefits that are available to individuals. If you have more questions than that, there's things that we can do to help you. That's what we're here to. We're not here just to put up a website that you can go to and find information, because a lot of you are going to have more questions than what a website's going to actually give you. We have information that we can mail you, and also have a class coming up over the next couple of weeks that you can actually attend, where we'll just dive into all the different living resource benefits that you possibly could have, help you identify the ones that you do have, and then we can get down into a one-on-one conversation of what it would take to turn those, if you choose to, turn those assets into funds that you could utilize for whatever you want to utilize it for. So if you call right now, you'll receive both. You'll receive access to the class if that's something that you want, but we'll also mail the information out to you that will help you identify the living resource benefits that you currently have that you can access for funds that you need. The number is 866-500-2922. One more time, it's 866-500-2922. When we get back, I'm going to continue the interview process, the thought process that we started with Katie Bowling, when we get back for more Your Legacy Radio right here on News Talk 1110 WBT and on WBT.com.